Round 1.
Hello there, my name is Mighty Mapman and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be providing a guide on the DLC Viking Assassin Shaman. Shaman was released in Season 4 of For Honor and quickly dominated the battlefield. High damage, homing missile style tracking and an uninterruptible bite that spelled out death from whoever the victim was, Shaman naturally garnered a lot of dislike from the community.
Round 2.
Several patches and adjustments later, and Shaman isn't as hated as she was when she first dropped, and now, at least in my opinion, has elements that make up what an assassin should be. Several misdirection options, swift and nimble movement, damage over time, and a high burst damage attack, Shaman has one of the most diverse movesets available in For Honor. This guide will assume that you know the basics of For Honor combat, and you're also familiar with the terminology, such as guard breaks, parrying, chains and feints etc, and is aimed at new and existing players to help learn a new character. I will be covering the hero's moveset, damage values and optimal punishers, as well as some recommendations for feats and perks in 4v4 game modes.
Victory. Round 3.
Before we begin, I want to give mention to an excellent content creator on YouTube called Skaegor. He has a very in-depth guide on Shaman and I highly recommend that you check it out after this video, as he will cover some tricks and tips that I don't in this guide. That guide, in fact, combined with commenter feedback, has led me to make some additions to my guide format. Please give me your feedback, as I am still learning as a content creator and I'm always looking for ways to improve. Skaegor also has very useful videos showcasing punishers for the rest of the heroes in the game, and videos explaining which executions on characters are the fastest in both kill time and duration. Please go check out his channel, as your time with For Honor can only improve if you do. Links will be in the description, and with that out of the way, we can begin. Shaman has 3 chains. Blood Omen is 2 lights into a heavy. The second light attack is guaranteed if done from the same direction. Bone Omen is a light opener into heavy finisher, and Bile Omen is a heavy opener into heavy finisher. Light openers hit for 10 damage regardless of direction. The second light in chain, when done from the same side as the first light, will hit for 5 damage, totaling to 15. When done from a different direction, the second light does 15 damage, though this one can be countered. Heavy openers will do 27 damage regardless of which direction the attack came from. Heavy finishers will hit for 32, but only from the top or right. From left guard, Shaman's heavy finisher is a slower but unblockable attack that hits for 40 damage. After your heavy finisher either hits, misses or is blocked by your opponent, you can press light attack to use Raven's Claw. This will be a quick stab with the dagger. It isn't guaranteed, but as you can select the direction of the stab, it can be hard to react to, mitigating the risk. Raven's Claw will do 1 direct damage and 16 bleed. Raven's Bile is another bleed stab Shaman can perform by soft feinting heavy openers or midway through her zone attack. Do this by pressing light attack during the heavy opener startup. Once again, you can select the direction of the attack to misdirect your opponents, and the damage is 1 direct and 16 bleed. Shaman's zone attack consists of 4 hits, all hitting your opponent's right guard. The first 2 hits will hit for 15 damage and 10 damage, and the last 2 hits follow that pattern for 15 and 10 respectively. Her zone can be feinted after the first 2 hits, either normally or can be soft feinted into Raven's Bile by pressing light attack and selecting a direction to attack after the first part of her zone. Be aware though, Shaman's zone attack can be parried if the first hit is blocked. The first 2 hits are counted as heavy parries, while the latter 2 hits are counted as light parries. Being an assassin, Shaman has a reflex guard. This means your guard is only active for a short time before you have no guard. You must continue to refresh your guard to keep it up, but assassins are compensated for this with the ability to perform deflects. Perform a deflect by dodging into an opponent's blockable attack. This is easier against top attacks and undodgeable attacks, as your dodge iframes are ignored. After a successful deflect, pressing light attack performs Raven's Beak, another bleed stab. This attack does 18 direct damage and applies 16 bleed damage. When out of lock and sprinting towards your opponent, press heavy attack to perform Wildcat's Pounce. This attack hits your opponent's top guard for 20 damage and counts as a chain starter. This attack has a lot of range, so is very useful for chasing down fleeing opponents. Dodging forward or backwards and inputting heavy attack initiates Wildcat's Rage. This attack hits for 20 damage and can be used as a chain starter. A unique dodge attack in that Shaman can select the direction of this attack, allowing for some ambiguity in your approach. Wildcat's Rage is also confirmed from a throw. However, this time all you have to do is press heavy attack immediately after Shaman throws her opponent. By holding heavy attack down after your forwards or backwards dodge, you can hold and delay your attack. You can also feint the attack to return to neutral, a useful tool for baiting dodges and scoring a guard break against your opponent. Perform Wildcat's Swiftness by dodging either left or right and pressing heavy attack. This attack also hits for 20 damage and functions as a chain starter. Dodging forward or backwards and pressing guard break performs Predator's Hunger. This is a bash that can ledge opponents and wall splat them. Similar to Wildcat's Rage, you can hold guard break down to delay the bash. You can feint back to neutral, and the bash is also confirmed after a throw. If the bash connects, you can confirm your double light combo for 15 damage. The first part of your zone is also guaranteed for 25 damage if you have the stamina for it. Lastly, if the bash wall splats, you can net a heavy attack for 27 damage. Predator's Hunger and Wildcat's Rage can be switched by alternating the inputs whilst holding either attack in place. This can be used to throw off your opponents. You can tell which is currently being held by Shaman herself. When Predator's Hunger is held, Shaman will not have her weapons in hand, whilst Wildcat's Rage she will. Shaman enters a state called Blood Trance when her opponents are bleeding. Any hit Shaman lands on a bleeding target will heal Shaman for a small amount of hit points. Whilst this isn't much, it aids in her longevity, whilst simultaneously pressuring the opponent as you recover. Blood Trance also changes Predator's Hunger into Predator's Mercy. This functions exactly the same as Predator's Hunger, but when successfully landed on a bleeding opponent, we'll see Shaman pounce onto her enemy for the infamous bite, dealing 50 damage. It should be noted, however, that teammates and enemies can knock you out of this attack, and whether or not the bite played out fully or was interrupted, the bite victim will no longer be bleeding afterwards. If you miss with Predator's Mercy, pressing guard break immediately after will launch another bite attempt. You can do this as long as you have stamina, but seeing as Shaman is guard break vulnerable after the first miss, this won't catch many people at high level play. You can soft feint into a guard break by pressing the guard break button during the startup of any of your heavy attacks. This is most effective after the unblockable one. You can also soft feint into a dodge from your heavy finishers and subsequently flow into dodge attacks and bashes. Learning to mix these up allows Shaman to execute some very elaborate damaging combos that not only look flashy but can be hard for opponents to deal with. Try to avoid patterns in your mix-ups and you'll find between all of her soft feint options, Shaman is a For Honor Swiss Army knife. Now for Shaman's punishers. Quick thank you to Skaegor again as he saved me the trouble and found the best ones for us. On a guard break, you get a heavy attack for 27 damage regardless of direction. Or you can soft feint a heavy into a bleed stab for 17 damage, 1 direct and 16 bleed. Wall splats from guard break simply initiate Wildcat's Rage for 20 damage. Wall splats from Predator's Hunger net you a heavy for 27 damage, but save yourself the stamina and don't throw, unless you want a ledge kill. Heavy parries net you your double light combo for 15 damage. If you have the stamina though, you can confirm the first part of your zone for 25 damage. You have a few options from a light parry, the first being a heavy from any direction for 27 damage. You can land Raven's Bile for 17 damage, 1 direct and 16 bleed. And if you light parry a bleeding opponent, you can back dodge into Predator's Mercy for 50 damage. When you are out of stamina, if you guard break your opponent or parry one of their light attacks, you can get a light attack of your own for 10 damage. Direction doesn't matter. Throw an out of stamina opponent in any direction and input heavy into top or right heavy into top light for a total of 69 damage, 53 direct and 16 bleed. Against bleeding opponents who are out of stamina, throw them in any direction, input heavy into top or right heavy, but soft feint that into a back dodge Predator's Mercy for a total of 70 damage. We have to use a top or right heavy as the left heavy unblockable is far too slow for these combos to work. For a simple combo, heavy into left heavy for a total of 60 damage. When parrying an out of stamina opponent, dodge either left or right and heavy into left heavy for 60 damage. An alternative is to do a light into either a top or right heavy attack with a top light to finish. This does 59 damage, 43 direct and 16 bleed. Finally, against a bleeding opponent, you dodge heavy left or right, then input either a top or right heavy, but you soft feint that into a back dodge Predator's Mercy for 70 damage. On revenge activation, you input a light attack into left heavy unblockable and top light. This is a total of 91 damage, 67 direct and 24 bleed. Rush is an excellent feat choice for Dominion rotations and chasing objectives and players in Breach and Tribute. Stealth is a useful passive feat, it helps avoid projectile feats and can be useful for sneaky drop attacks, but isn't worth taking over the other two in my opinion. Stun Trap is great for netting some extra damage and getting some pressure on those caught inside, useful for guarding objectives. Bear Trap sets up ganks and environmental kills whilst also being defensive at preventing objectives such as the Defender's Cauldron and Breach. Flesh Wound is nice for being able to take a bit more punishment, and Revenge Attacks is viable for Shaman due to her very useful misdirection tactics. Whilst Fury helps to pile on the damage, and if I've not made it clear in my other guides, Second Wind is absurdly strong as a feat and should always be considered. Hand Axe is tempting to say that it inflicts bleed, but Shaman's chase potential is unrivaled in this game, so isn't worth giving up your health recovery. Fire Flask can obliterate minions and pikemen, but obviously has viability versus other heroes when used correctly. Nail Bomb is a very strong trap that bleeds opponents out and drains their stamina. Useful for priming Shaman's dinner, so long as you aren't putting it somewhere that it can heal. Scout will reveal everyone's in-game positions, so its use is limited only to the synergy of you and your teammates. Shaman has a nice mix of perks to choose from. Headhunter feels useful as Shaman can get executions relatively consistently. Endurance is a good complement to Shaman's multiple soft feint options, and Clever Tactics synergizes well with Rush to aid in rotations. All of these are good picks though, but for my money, Crush Them isn't worth it, especially considering it could be wasted on a 1 damage bleed stab. In conclusion, Shaman might be the most balanced assassin we have in the game right now, though for me I think her heavies need a little less damage to keep her bite at 50, or bring the bite down to about 45. She's fun to play and lethal in the right hands, though she's not for me personally. If you found this guide helpful, leave it a like and consider supporting the channel by subscribing. Remember to tick the bell icon to receive notifications of new content, and please comment down below if I've missed anything out or you have any questions. Remember to check out Skaegor's channel in the video description, and thank you all so much for watching the video. See you in the next one. Ciao for now!